This is Cowpie, a Gypsy Vanner stallion that I'm getting started under saddle for the next 90 days. And I have spent the last 15 years training for the public and competing in ranch versatility, and I am showing you how I do the first 90 days on these ranch colts. It was a haily, wet day, so I had the fortunate advantage of going to a friend's indoor arena to get this done today. I had some other horses to ride out there. And so we start off with some groundwork. I had some plans to get on top of him and actually ride him today, but I usually let the horses tell me if they're ready or not. He was telling me that he wasn't quite ready in the beginning. He got there by the end, but my cinch wasn't really fitting this horse very well, so I decided to hold off until the next go around to ride him when I have a better fitting cinch. So right here in the beginning, you can see I'm just trying to get him to walk forward and follow my hand. Every time he takes a step forward, you can see that I stop driving with the hand that's swinging the rope. Okay, so as soon as he tries to move forward, I quit swinging. He has a little toddler tantrum here, and there's a couple ways you can handle it. I chose to be pretty passive and just ignore it this go round. He's only been worked with a handful of times. This is literally maybe the fourth time I've handled this horse. So I'm just ignoring it for now and showing him what I actually want. And what I actually want is when I open up my right hand going to the right, I want him to follow that hand, just like he did there, still trying to throw a tantrum. His friend is in the corner, Uncle Huck. You can see him there trying to go with Mr. Huck and be comfortable with his buddy. And I'm just, in my mind, when they are acting this way, I just act like I was a tree. Like if he was tied to a tree, how would the tree act? It's unemotional, and I'm just ignoring all of his silliness. And then when he steps forward, then I'm going to give him that release. Okay, so I'm asking him to step forward here. He's still resisting. And I'm not going to increase the pressure. I'm just going to be annoying with that cue. As long as they're uncomfortable and searching for an answer, I don't increase the pressure. Okay, so here I take a swing at his hips because he was swinging his hips in, and I want those hips to stay out. Good. He makes a nice pass around in the circle. He's still wanting to lean towards Huck. So I put the pressure on. Now you can see he's getting a tiny bit better, but still not quite where I want him. So we're just going to keep encouraging him to walk forward and not let him pull me towards Huck. It's one of the bigger mistakes I see people do in the lunging here is they'll let their little colt drag them towards the spot that they're sour to in the lunging without realizing it. So I'm trying really hard to keep my feet as far away from Huck as I can. He's starting to figure things out here. He's starting to walk around. I want to get him to where he can go around in this circle and not stop in this corner by Huck. Still trying to throw those temper tantrums. If he tries to put his head down and stretch out with his legs like he did in the beginning, I'm gonna pop on his halter and just bump it to keep him from doing that, because that's not the door I want him to go through. There he's pretty hesitant, but he actually kept his feet moving through that little section of the arena where Huck is at, which was a nice try. If he can do it one more time, which he does right there without stopping, then I'm going to give him a release. And I'm just encouraging him a little bit with the rope to keep walking. But right here is where I quit, because he made it through that whole section without trying to stop. So here I'm testing the saddle. It didn't feel like it was going to ride. So I'm just working on connecting his, first softening his neck, but then connecting his feet to his chin to the rein. More than flexion, I want a horse to be able to connect his foot to the rein and his nose. I think a lot of people get stuck on the softness, and I think it's more important to get that step that you saw him take right there, where when I pull on the rein, yes, I want softness, but I want him to be connected to that rein. And the more time you spend on flexion, in my opinion, the more you teach them to be disconnected to the rein. So yes, you want them to be soft, but only as much as you're going to be able to teach that connection. I will get further into this later on in other videos. But here I'm teaching him to step back. Same principle. He had some connection there with the rope, but now I'm asking him to step back because that's going to turn into my stop when I actually start riding him. So if I can get his nose to dip and then get him to take a step back. So the nose dip is a softness. And then once I get the softness, then I need the connection, which is that step right there that you saw. And then I release. And you can see even in his posture here, he's leaning forwards towards Huck on the other side of the arena. So the whole time I'm working this little guy, I'm keeping that in mind, that he's always wanting to lean towards Huck. You can see it really clearly there in his posture. That front leg is not straight up and down. It's leaning towards Huck. And that's going to kind of change some of the things that I do, how aggressive I'm going to get, where I'm going to let him rest. All of these things I'm taking into consideration when he wants to lean towards Huck. Okay, so now we're working on the other side because horses have two sides to their brains. We're working that left side and trying to get him to walk around me and move forward and follow my hand around without stopping in that corner by Huck, which he's doing a pretty decent job. He's wanting to stop, but his forward is a lot better. So we're just going to work a little bit more on that forward and getting him to take a step forward. I swing the rope at his shoulder, and I try really hard not to walk towards that shoulder. I want these horses to be able to move across my body like he just did from me swinging the rope. So that means you're going to have to go a little bit slower for them to understand what you're looking for. But in the end, it makes it so much better because if I can hold my feet still and control my horse, that's way better than me having to chase this horse all over the arena. And it's a thing that I see a lot with people when they're lunging their horses or starting these colts, is they'll end up walking all over the arena trying to get the horse to move because the horse doesn't want to move. And you just wait on them. You just like a mosquito buzzing by your ear, you're going to ask for those things until they do it. Okay. So here, same thing on this side. We're just looking for that softness first. And as soon as I don't spend time on the softness at this stage. I want the connection to their feet because that's what's going to give me control when I get into the saddle. I can work on softness once I'm on their back and I'm riding around and I have some control. I don't really care about softness that much at this stage. The most important thing is the connection right there. You saw it pretty clearly where I pick up the lead rope and I ask for a step to the side, and he, like a puppet on a string. That's what I call this principle, is the puppet on the string principle. You pick up the rein or the lead rope and it's like a marionette and they step over. That's the kind of connection I want. Almost over the softness. Like I don't want their head and nose flinging all over the place, so they need to have their little chin tucked when they do it, but I'm not spending a whole lot of time flexing my horse and bending their head around to the side without some actual connection to a footstep. I think that just teaches your horse how to blow through a rein and is pretty dangerous before you get on for the first time. So here we go. We're still trying to get that step. I went from the lead rope to now he is wearing a boselle with reins on. And so I started with the halter to kind of establish things, but now I'm working on the reins that are connected to the boselle so that he'll know what that means and what that feeling is when I get up there and I start to pull him around with that boselle. So here, I know it's hard to see with my back there, but I'm just pulling on the reins from the boselle to get that puppet on a string effect where there's strong connection between his nose and his foot in the direction that I want him to step. Sometimes he goes a little too much and doesn't step all the way. We're going to wait on him here. He's still just being a colt for the most part. I just ignore those things. Later on down the road, when he's been handled, you can see him licking and chewing, so he's thinking about that, right? Something made sense to him. Later on down the road, I'm going to get more specific about that coltiness, and I'll start disciplining him for it. But right now, I'm just ignoring it. It's too early to get mad at him for being a colt and having some of those colt antics. Same thing, we're just doing it to this side there. You could see the step over. Okay, we're going to work on another step. Try to get him to step over. You can see him searching for what I'm looking and asking for. There we go. Looks like I'm asking for a backup here. There we go. Good. Yeah, that was a nice step. Good. Okay, there you go. Softness in the chin and then backing up. That's it for this session. If you want to continue to watch Cowpie's journey, subscribe to our channel, and for more step-by-step process on how I do all of this with the colts, go check out our website at jonesequine.net.